Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to the channel. So, here is a continuation of the previous video I posted. I'll be showing you how I joined all the patterns together. So, if you're a new subscriber, I really appreciate you for subscribing to the channel. And if you're an old subscriber, you're also welcome. Thank you for staying tuned to the channel. So, right, we're going to be starting with the body of the dress. So firstly, we're going to be cutting the front of the dress. So here I was adding extra half inches to all the sides I didn't add where I'll be doing all the joinings, but not the side of the dress because the side of the dress I already added the same sewing allowance to it already. So I was just marking everything so I don't forget while I'm cutting. So after that, I needed to add extra length since the pattern paper I used was not like the length was not full enough for me. So I added the extra length. So you make sure the length you want is what you're going to use. You can make it very long, you can make it short, depending on what you want. Just add your length to it. So after that, I just tried to copy the dots back to the fabric. So I'll be doing that on the other side of the the pattern too. So it'll be easy for me to just sew the dots. I don't have to be measuring it again. No, we lazy people. I don't like using I really like using um staple on the machine, but it's always needed. But if you can avoid it, why not? So that's what I was doing, and I don't like standing up when I'm already on the machine. You have to do it, but you know, I really don't like it. So if I can avoid it, why not take the easy way? That's I did that. So if you want to be like me, you can. So anyways, I wouldn't be adding lining to mine. So if you want to add lining to yours, you could definitely do that. So here we're going to cut the back of the dress. It's also a very necessary something. So since I'm not adding lining, I just use 1 inch seam allowance for the zipper, and then we're going to be cutting the sleeve. Mind you, if you want to do the original style, you have to add extra 1 inch to the length of the sleeve, or 1.5, and then you're just going to cut two. But because of the type of sleeve I want, I cut 4 pieces, and then the original sleeve you're just going to hem the two sides, not like join them together. So after that, we go ahead to our the gathers at the side, which we already did. We already marked our slash and spread method on it, but we didn't, since we're not cutting on the pattern, we didn't cut it out. So here we're going to be doing that. So before I did that, I wanted to know the length of the dress, if the gathers was like the length. So fortunately for me, it was exactly. Thank God I didn't have to buy extra fabric. So you have to be sure if you want a longer length for the dress, you have to buy more fabrics. If you want a shorter one, I think 2 yards is enough. So I think here I used 2.5 yards for mine. So here now we're already slashing our a pattern already. So after you slashed it, you're going to at least give it a 2.5 inch space from each other. Like if you get what I'm trying to say, 2.5 at most. You can make it more than that if you want your gathers to be very full. But me, since I didn't buy a lot of fabric, so I was just managing what I have. And then you're going to add a seam allowance to the top of the slash and spread method. and then at the center you're going to notch it so you'll be able to get the center. By the time you open it, you're not going to be able to get the center again. And then you make sure all your cuttings are very perfect. And then here I was just cutting out that um ends from the cloth. After that, I was cutting an interfacing since I was not using lining. You could use lining if you want. Don't be like me that you don't use lining. Do what you really want. Me, I was just using an interfacing. I didn't want to line it because I feel like the material is heavy enough, and I feel like I don't want heat. I don't like heat. So if you're sewing for your clients and you think you have to just align it. So here I was just joining the interfacing to the clothes. So if it's your lining, you just make sure you have to join it, and then you go ahead to sew it. And here I was going to sew it and notch. Then after notching, you go ahead to stitch on the interfacing. So if it's your lining, you go ahead to do the same. Then after that, you join it on both sides and then you turn it. So here I went ahead to join the zipper allowance, which I use 1 inch, and that's it. And make sure you iron your clothes while you are sewing. Iron very well. So here I'd already gone ahead to join the darts. It was very easy because I used that lazy method. So don't be like me. If you want to measure it, please go ahead and measure it. And then after that, I just sewed the sides by 1.5 inch. Make sure you go ahead to watch the first video so you'll be able to understand the second one. If not, you will not understand what I was doing here. So here we're already trying to join our gathers together. Then where you notched, you're going to put it at the side. You're going to pin it to the side of the dress. Where you notched, you pin it to the sides of the dress. And after that, where your curve starts from, you're going to pin it to where your dart is. And then after that, you're going to take the remaining part of the dress. Make sure it's equal to the end of the dress. If it's not, you're going to push it back forward and then repin where your curve starts from, so as to get an accuracy when sewing. So just pin it down, and then you go ahead and do it for the back as well. You pin it down from the end of the dress, then you go as well as pin the dart together where the curve starts from. And then when you're sewing, you're going to start the gathers from where the dart starts from, where the dart of the dress, where it ends on the dress. That's where you're going to gather. So you go ahead and gather it. So that's what I've done here. I've gathered it on both sides. So after I've done that, make sure to iron very well. That's what brings the beauty of the cloth. Then you go ahead to hem the lower part of your dress. So here I already hemmed the lower part of the dress. So after that, I'll be joining the sleeve to the dress. So here we'll just go ahead to join our sleeves together. So I already turned it and ironed it. So we go ahead to join our sleeve to the dress. Join it to our armhole. Make sure the
edges are like touching each other when you want to sew it. So you go ahead to sew it down, pin it down, and go ahead to sew it down. So after you've done that, I use the ribbon. I didn't have a wine ribbon at home, so I just used the black ribbon to turn it. So don't be like me that was lazy. I'm not supposed to sew on the dress. You could just use your thread and needle to stitch it down, to hem it down. So don't be like me, hem yours. And then you go ahead to join your zip, and that's the end of the dress, the beautiful dress. That's what it looks like.